Welcome back, radio entrepreneurs, listeners, and fans. I'm producer Nathan Gobes, filling in for Jeffrey Davis this morning. I want to thank you all for listening. I've joined by my co-host, John Dustin of JED Insurance. Welcome back, John.
Nathan, great to be here today, and I see you've got a great list of guests coming on the show today. Excited to be here.
Thank you, John. Always good to have you at my side. You're right, we do have a great guest. She's actually a returning guest, Addie Swartz, CEO of ReacHire. Welcome, Addie.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here today.
Yeah, thank you. You last joined us in 2019, so there may be some listeners that aren't familiar with your organization. Why don't you fill us in on what ReacHire does, and then maybe we'll get into what you've been up to since you last joined a few years ago.
Sure. So ReacHire is all about helping companies focus on their gender talent pipeline. So we help women get back into the workforce and companies create more diverse talent pools. And we also help women grow and thrive through our new digital platform, Aurora, which I'm very excited to say wasn't something we offered when I was interviewed by you guys in January of 2019. So the entrepreneur continues.
Wow. Addie, you must be very, very busy with the lack of labor crisis going on currently.
Yeah, well, we know that the pandemic really kind of created this, what everyone is calling the she session, which is all about, women being either forced out or needing to take time off from their careers to manage childcare, schooling, et cetera. And here we are with, this new variant and more questions about what's happening and uncertainty. So, there's millions of women that have been sidelined for one reason or another. And the growth in organizations right now is significant, and diversity is a key metric for companies. And so if you kind of add that all up, you have a situation where there's not enough talent, there's not enough diverse talent. The talent that's there is being pressured in all kinds of ways, both with personal obligations and professional obligations to keep it all together, especially if you're a woman and you have more responsibility. So it really adds up to a difficult and challenging time.
Are you matching the candidates, or are you bringing them to a specific, how does ReacHire operate?
Yeah, so we work two ways. So our original focus was to really zero in on women that had taken time off, and now we're looking to go back in the workforce. And in fact, a recent study that just came out a few weeks ago was showing that all the applicant tracking systems, all the technology tools that companies use now, really push out alternate candidates that have breaks on their resume. So ReacHire was really designed to help those people, both women and men, because we actually support everyone, in getting back with sort of a concrete on-ramp. So we bring women and men back in cohorts of anywhere from 6 to 50 people at a time into one company where they get onboarded, retrained. They're in a quasi apprenticeship in a way for 6 months while they get back in the game with new skills, upgrade their skills, and get paid for doing it all. And so we've been doing that for almost a decade, and we've placed hundreds and hundreds of people back in the workforce. And while they're on their concrete on-ramp, they're actually our employees. So we co-create the jobs with the corporations and take all the risk, responsibility, and coaching and support through that 6-month assignment while those individuals get back into the workforce.
So almost, I don't want to debit it, a temporary help solution with the hope that they get permanently hired at a position.
Yeah, we think of it more, it's definitely sort of a test drive for the person, and it's a test drive for the company, but we're all about getting that person hired at the end. Mm-hmm. If somebody's taken a break for 2 years, 5 years, 18 years, their skills are not up to date exactly with where the technology is. And, jobs are different. roles are different, and environments are different. And so it gives the individual this opportunity to test drive, and it also helps the companies to sort of calibrate the type of person and the skill set that they need. We have a huge success rate. Over 90% of the people placed end up in those roles 3 years later in those companies. And they're big, large companies like, Wayfair, T-Mobile, Fidelity, cybersecurity companies. We're launching programs all over the country. As I said, we're almost into this for a decade. But really, what's really exciting about that, because we really walk alongside the individual and we are cheering them on all along the way. But what's really exciting, and I think especially maybe important for the listeners that you have in this audience, is that you always have to continue to evolve and move to the needs of the market. And so, I recognize that it's one thing to replenish the talent pool with diverse talent, but it's another thing to think about all the talent you have that's diverse and making sure that they thrive and are happy. And so with all the learnings of the apprenticeship return to work programs that we've done, we morphed that into the development of a digital SaaS platform called Aurora that helps companies do a better job of supporting their women, engaging their women that are there, that are already in the companies, that aren't making it up in the pipeline. And yesterday was a big moment. Every year, there's a famous Women in the Workplace report that comes out from McKinsey and the Lean In Foundation. And for the third year in a row, people have talked about how there's this broken rung and that women are getting passed over for promotion at significantly higher rates, even from individual contributor to that first level of promotion. So if you are thinking about the gender talent pipeline and want to improve it so that there's more diversity at every level, it's not enough to focus on moving women from a senior director level to a VP level or a VP level to a senior VP level. You have to focus on that broken rung, which is women who are just coming into your organization, that are there for 5 or 7 years, that are looking to advance, that for whatever reason can't advance. And so we designed, and I created the Aurora platform to really help companies ensure that their women flourish at those levels and grow. And so that's entrepreneurship at its finest, right? Coming up with another business that is really tackling the same problem from a different angle. Now it's B2B, so it's focused on those same companies and those same corporations, but it's taking a different approach, leveraging all the learning from replenishing the talent to actually growing the talent from within the organization.
It's almost like a perfect model because you can do it both ways, but just what you said, people leave for children, parents. Who would have thought so many people would have had to leave to manage their parents, right? And that happens all the time. So I think it's kind of interesting that they can approach it both ways and still get inclusion and still get a great employee.
Exactly. Exactly. And then if you can save more of the women that are there, right? Companies do a lot and spend a lot of money on filling jobs. And in fact, some of the talent acquisition people in many companies are bonused by how quickly they fill a job. It's called time to fill. But are they looking at how quickly they're leaving?
What's the retention? What's the retention rate of that?
Right. And so how do you focus on making sure people stay and are happy? And if you really understand what it takes to bring somebody back that doesn't have a skill set, may be an older worker, may not come from the industry with their experience that they're going into, and you can get them to be successful, you certainly can help those people that are in the industries, in those companies, do a better job of feeling a sense of belonging, a sense of connection, and feeling that they have avenues to grow and thrive.
Addie, I'd be curious, what level, because I have 4 kids and they're 21 months apart, each of them. And a couple of them were part of that predictive model where, you put your resume in, and if you don't fit, what sort of company demographic are using those models to weed out candidates?
Well, applicant tracking systems across the board have been designed to make it more efficient to get those candidates that match those job descriptions. So, on our return to work side, we're all about taking alternative candidates and putting them into new jobs. That's definitionally what it is, because if you've been out of the workforce for some time, the jobs that are here today weren't here 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago. A lot of those industries are newer. And so definitionally, we're, in a way, retrofitting, individuals to new roles, new responsibilities, and new opportunities. That's not the way it's set up when you have a job description that's very defined and an open rec that somebody says, I need a so-and-so that has the following 20 different sets of skills. Now, the research shows that women in general, they won't apply to a job if they're not like 90% qualified with checking the boxes off on that rec. Whereas with men, that's not the case. But all that's out the window when you've had a break, when you have to be more open-minded, when you have to understand that you're gonna build skills and go into new areas that you weren't before, and just thinking about how to, leverage that. So we, every day of the week, are, transitioning people from certain industries into others, certain roles into others, and having them flex. And I believe at the end of the day, it's all about potential. And that's the way I've raised my own children. And that's the way I feel about life and opportunity. It has to be about what you as the individual can bring and making sure that it gets leveraged, whatever it is. Everybody has superpowers. Everybody has great things to bring. The rub comes in when you put somebody in a job where their skills aren't being able to be leveraged, and they can't showcase them, and the company can't leverage them either.
That's fascinating, Addie, and I love what you're doing. Before we go, is there anything that you want to talk about that's upcoming or down the road for ReacHire?
Well, we didn't really get as much a chance to talk about the, Aurora platform, but it's a highly scalable offering that companies can offer to their employee resource groups. We have access to early career experience, mid-career experience, women of color experience. We have content and experience and community around the maternity journey. And we actually have an emerging leaders product offering that if you really have folks that you've identified that are critical emerging leaders, you can grow them. But with the world we're living with hybrid work, where it doesn't look like, even when we go back and hopefully get over this next wave and sort of become more of a normal, work world, people are going to be working hybrid. Companies in the last 18, 20 months have hired people all over the country. We certainly have. Those people are never going to come in the office. How do you get them connected? How do you get them to feel like they're part of a community? And if you don't do that, they're just going to walk and go somewhere else. People want to be connected. They want to be affiliated. They want to feel like their contribution makes a difference. And so Aurora was designed from the get-go to be virtual and to be able to help in bringing people together, be a safe, confidential environment, and be affordable for companies to offer an extra layer that could make a big difference to, as John was saying, grow that retention, grow that support so that more individuals from diverse backgrounds can grow and thrive in your organization. Great.
Everyone, we've been speaking with Addie Swartz, CEO of ReacHire. Addie, if people want to get in touch with you, whether there may be different channels for this, maybe not, but if they're a owner of a business or a CEO and they're interested in bringing on Aurora or your services, how would they reach out to you versus if they're somebody looking to return to work or something like that?
Sure. So a great place to start is our website, www.reachhire.com with one H, ReachHire.com. We have a Aurora section, so you can kind of do a deeper dive. You can request a demo if you're a company and you want to learn more about it. That's one thing. If you're a candidate that's looking to get back to work, we have free webinars all the time. So sign up for our newsletter so that you can be informed as to, how do you upgrade your LinkedIn profile? How do you present yourself and talk about your career break? How do you create community so that you're not going at it alone? And then, we have an area on the website that you can sign up to just get any new jobs that we have posted. So it's an iterative process. Somebody who is thinking about going back to work with a lot of uncertainty that's out there, they may not be quite ready, even though they want to learn more, and we're ready for that. So, sign up, learn, take advantage of all our free programming. And by the way, it's never, ever a cost to a candidate or an Aurora experienced person. It's always the company that's partnering with us to really, create the on-ramps and create the support system. So it really costs you nothing.
Great. And there'll be a link to your website on our website, radioentrepreneurs.com, when we post this interview. John Dustin, JED Insurance, my co-host. How can people reach you if they want to get in touch?
By phone at 508-543-1067, on the web at www.jedinsurance.com, or email john.dustin, D-U-S-T-I-N, at jedinsurance.com.
Great. I want to thank you.
I just want to add one more thing. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and all that. So,
of course.
Anyway.
and then we are there as well, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. If anybody listening wants to follow us on LinkedIn, we're a very growing and active community there. Of course, radioentrepreneurs.com, as well as all the podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and more. And lastly, of course, YouTube. Please subscribe to us there. It helps us immensely. I want to thank all our listeners, and thank you, Addie. Thank you, John. We'll be right back on Radio Entrepreneurs with another segment.
Thank you.
Thank you.